Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Oh, man, it is so an honor to be here. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, both of you. It is great to be here. I don't know if you guys know who I am. My name is Bob Smiley. I'm a comedian. I wasn't always a comedian. I actually was a stay-at-home dad for a little while, but then we had kids, and So I do. I love traveling, but my favorite job, and I've already talked about it a little bit, but my favorite job is being a dad. It is. My kids are 11, 14, and 17, and are you okay? I got some water up here if you need it. That's a question I get. Are your kids funny? My two oldest are pretty funny, but my youngest one is the funniest kid I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't know, I'm always interested if why they are different, raised in the same household. I don't know. The biggest difference was the first two were born in a hospital. The third one, I'd read an article, it's better to have the baby underwater. So we did that, and don't do that. Seriously, turns out not everybody at that YMCA had read that article. That lifeguard was angry. But he's so funny. I'm trying to think of some good examples. I took him to not Philadelphia. Florida. Philadelphia. I knew it was a state that started with an F. I am not good at geometry. But no, I was in Orlando. I took my son, Xander, because I was doing a pastors conference. It was about 300 pastors, and we were backstage, and right before I went on stage, Xander goes, "Is that a room full of pastors?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "How long's your show?" And I go, "I'm doing an hour." And he goes, "Good. Go twice as long so they'll see how it feels." And I was like, and I'm not digging on pastors. Like, pastors have a hard job. I've actually this past year started preaching. 3 weeks ago, I preached in Vegas, which was so surreal because instead of the audience yelling, "Amen," they yell "Bingo." And but he is. My youngest is just so fun. Actually, I'll tell this. I don't think this will offend anybody, but he came downstairs one day, and I love teaching moments. Like, you're getting ready to go to Kenya, right? Is that right? And so we go to third world countries, and we do a lot of stuff with like Compassion International and new missions and stuff. And so he came downstairs one day, Xander did, and he goes, "I'm starving," and I saw a teaching moment. I was like, "Xander, we've been over to the third world countries. We've seen kids that are truly starving. You're not starving. You're hungry." And he goes, "Well, I'm so hungry, I'm farting fresh air." And I was like, "What?" How do you argue with that? That's pretty hungry, right? Like, woo! Oh. It is. So he is very fun, and here's the deal. I came here this morning to make you laugh. I'm not really trying to, I'm not doing a sermon or anything, but I do have a couple of challenges and a couple of things I do want to share. And one of them is, man, kids, love your parents, hug them, let them know that they're, because it's a tough job. It is so, from the moment they're born, there's like, I think that's why God gave babies baby teeth, like it's a practice round, right? Because, sometimes it's like dangerous, and I don't know. I shouldn't have started talking about it, but there's sad moments as a parent. You know what I'm talking about? Like, anybody get really sad the moment you realize, this is mainly for dads, but the moment you realize your son's too big to toss up in the air? Like, did that hit anybody? I just shouldn't have talked about that. This is dumb. That happened last week. I know that's so dumb, but it was so awkward because I had to tell my dad, "Quit throwing me up." But there's so much joy in being a father. It's so much like, you know what the best day of being a father was for me? I thought it'd be like, when my kids were born or, when my kids graduate, which that's not gonna happen. No, it was the day that they were finally big enough to not be in a car seat. Any other parent get really frustrated? You know what I'm talking about? Because you have to do the belt, and it has to be faced the right way, and it has to be buckled in. Do you know who invented the car seat? I looked it up. It shocked me. It was Satan. It is, and in Texas, this is really bad, but in Texas, it's based on weight. So it's not based on age. I don't know what it's like here, but is it weight? That's a bad law because, I mean, for my third one, I was fattening him up like a hog going off to the state fair. Like, seriously. I was like, Xander, we got a trip to Florida. Let's start hitting those Twinkies. No more fresh air for you. So I'm just saying, that's not very mature, but that is. I mean, it's a tough job. Even being mature is difficult. Let's just be honest. Like, sometimes it's hard. Even flying in today. I was flying on Southwest, and their flight attendants are always really cool, but the guy running the drink cart had an eye patch. I'm an adult. I should have no problem with that. No, it was all I could do not to go, Army Matey, bring me a goblet of something good. It just was such a struggle. And it's scary. Anybody have kids that sneak up on you all the time? My 3 boys are like, do you do that, kid? Stop doing that, okay? It is seriously the creepiest thing where you think you're by yourself and you're just like, ah! How did you? Thought I was in this stall by myself, right? Or the worst is at night. Anybody have a kid sneak up on you in the middle of the night? Is it just like, okay, good, I'm not the only one? Like 2 a.m., I don't even know why. I'll just open my eyes. My 11-year-old, boom, right there. And he never says anything. He just stands there. Like at any moment, he's going to be like, wah, He doesn't. He'll just stand there for like 10 minutes just holding the kitchen knife. And you guys know that's a joke. I'm from Texas. It's a gun. So it is. There's a lot of joy in being a dad. Okay. I'm trying to decide what to share with you guys because here's the deal. Like I said, I came to make you laugh, but it's a new year. And we're starting a new year, and God has blessed us already with day one of it. And when I do stand-up, I try to be really transparent, which is easy because I'm a redhead. I'm practically transparent. But here's the deal. All right, I'll do this. My life's not perfect. It's not perfect. Like, I love doing comedy, and I love being a dad. But, and especially this last year, I could not wait for this last year to be over with because right at a year ago, I came home from a show, and my wife just told me that she wanted out and she wanted to leave. And she just moved out and moved in with her mom and left me and the kids. And, and I'm just, I know that's awkward to bring up this morning, but I just want you guys to know that, man, everybody has trials and tribulations, and it was tough, like, especially because it was out of the blue. We just didn't, there was a couple of hints, I guess, like, I noticed when I rode in the passenger seat of her car, she started turning my airbag off, and, but here's the deal, like, she just, boom, was just gone, and I know that's weird, and I see a lot of you women thinking, like, what? Who would throw this away? But here's the point. This is why I bring it up. For 18 years, I traveled the country, and I stood on stages, and I told people that God could get you through anything. But I'll be honest, I was standing on a mountaintop the whole time. I had a great life. I had a great career, everything. This past year, my kids and I, we've been wandering through the desert. And it is so refreshing to stand in front of you guys January 1st, 2017, and tell you firsthand that God can and will get you through anything. He is never going to leave you. And I've seen that all this past year. And, and I've always heard that laughter is the best medicine. And after the year I've had, I can be honest and tell you it's Vicodin. No, I'm kidding. It is laughter. It is laughter. And to be honest, my kids and I, we've always laughed. And then for a while, we didn't laugh. And I really thought that part was gone. And I remember the first time, and I'm not making light of divorce at all. Like, it is a horrible thing, and Satan will really use it to try to mess people up. But I remember the first time I laughed after it was over with. I was in the shower, and it hit me. I no longer have to read 18 bottles to make sure that I'm washing my hair with shampoo and not shea butter foot scrub, which I've done a lot. I've washed my hair with shea butter foot scrub so much, I'm surprised I don't have a toe growing out of my head. And again, then the biggest time we laughed, and this was a moment, and I honestly feel like God gives us these moments, like here's some joy. And so if you're going through a bad time right now and you're starting this new year, start looking for joy because God is going to have that for you. He's going to get you through anything. And I remember the first time we all laughed as a kid, and again, not making light of divorce, but my youngest, Xander, came down, and he's my funny one. He came downstairs and he was like, "Is the divorce final?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Oh, there's still some furniture left." And and he was kidding because there's not. So please buy my DVDs and books. We have a lot to replace. But again, I'm not making, but to know, like we had been a couple months with just like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? And then all of a sudden we just started realizing that we could do this because God was going to get us through this. And Xander, I laughed forever. He looked at me and we all of a sudden realized, since it's just me and the three boys, we can now touch any towel in our house. We don't have non-touchable decorative towels anymore. And he looked at me, he goes, "If it's really over, I'm going to touch the towel." And I was like, "You should do it." And he goes, "No, you should do it. You do it first." And I was like, "No, come on." And he did. And he knew he was being funny, but he walked into the guest bathroom and he put his hand up on this decorative towel that none of us had ever touched. And he just goes, "Freedom." Oh, the next hour, we were chasing each other around the house, popping each other with towels. My oldest was standing on the couch going, "Woo!" You know? And we laughed, and it was so good, you know? And that's what God does, you know? God doesn't do this. Like, he might, you're right. Maybe we'll get to heaven. They'll be like, "Hey, welcome to heaven. Grab a towel, pick a couch." Now, here's what God does, and this is my message for you guys. God will shine the brightest light in the darkest places. And so if you're in a dark place right now, man, first of all, know this church loves you. I can't tell you how amazing it is from the moment I walked in this door today, how people have just been like welcoming me and loving on me, and it's just been amazing. This church loves you. And so if you're going through a dark time, man, know that you got people to help you. And so I just want to remind you guys that as we start the year. So anyway, that's kind of my story where I'm at. I am self-employed in the ministry in my 40s, raising 3 boys. Ladies. We have, no, that's not. I say ladies, it's so weird too, because the dating in your 40s, I don't know like how to describe it except for, first of all, it's just awkward because I was married for 18 years and now I'm having to act, like I still get creeped out when I go into Starbucks and order a tall blonde. And I wasn't even gonna date, and then my kids were like, "Dad, you should date. And so I don't know, it's just, I probably shouldn't talk about it. I say this with love, women. Say what you mean, okay? Don't go, "I don't care where we eat," and then 30 minutes later, you're like, "I don't like this Chuck E. Cheese." And just say what you mean. And I say that saying that I don't do that. I get so nervous. I've only been on a few dates, but I get so nervous. And this is horrible. Don't do it. I lie about my job. I'll fake an accent. I'll act like I have money to pay for the meal. And they always find out. I'm like, "Good day, mate. Left my wallet at the Pentagon. Where I work." And so I'm just saying, like, you know, but that's what I'm saying. God can get you through it. And so in my stage in life right now, all I'm focused on is just trying to be a good dad and trying to be this dad that raises Christian men. You know, and it's so weird too, because I hear myself saying things that my dad said to me that I thought I would never say to my kids, and now I'm saying it to my kids. Like, I see some people nodding your head. Do you guys do that? Where, you know, like, "Quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about," or, yeah, "Don't make me come up there," or, you know, hide. That may be a Texas thing. Or do you find yourself saying the dumbest sentences weird. Am I the only one that does that? Like, I've actually had to say to my oldest, nope, chicken pot pie does not have pot in it. I'm glad you guys are laughing, because I was in Colorado last week, and a guy down front goes, ours does. Or sometimes, maybe I shouldn't say this because we have kids here, but like, do you adults, it's a lot of pressure. That's what I'm saying. Like, appreciate your parents, because sometimes we say things hypocritical, but because we have to be the adult, we have to try to hide it. The other day I told my oldest son, I was like, Coulter, you get up off that couch right now and you quit being lazy and you bring me the remote control to the TV. Which was the dumbest sentence, but I wanted the remote because, and you're not gonna believe this, but I've got a little bit of ADD, and no, it's bad, it's really bad. And so I used not to like to watch TV, and then one day I realized the TV remote is the greatest invention for people with ADD, because if you have the right shows lined up, you can flip the channel, and if you flip the channel after each sentence, sometimes you can create your own story. Has anybody done it? If you haven't done it, it's gonna sound weird, and you gotta have the right channels. Like the best one I ever had was I had Dancing with the Stars, news, awards ceremony, televangelist, and wrestling all lined up. It was the greatest story. It was like, the head of the Taliban announced today that she will be wearing a gold sequin gown made by Calvin Klein, and therefore we need to remember the example of the Apostle Paul when he performed a suplex kick up against the Undertaker's head. And now he's going to attempt a pile driver. So if a peace treaty cannot be reached soon, pretty soon we're going to see Kid Rock and Mariah Carey singing a duet in the end. And in the end, brothers and sisters, if you don't give your life to Jesus Christ, you're going to find yourself in a cage match, no holds bar. Face to face with true evil, a true wrecking ball, Miley Cyrus. Right? It was... It seriously is the greatest, and that's the deal, because I'm not, again, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I think Satan uses technology to pull people away, because we're built for community. We're built for community. That's why I love what you guys are doing over in Kenya and stuff, because it's built for, we're made to be around each other, to lift each other up, and I think a lot of, I don't know, we put technology on too much stuff, is what I'm saying. Like, I was actually in, speaking of chicken pot pie, I was in the weirdest named town in California 2 months ago. I was in a town, it was called Weed, California, W-E-E-D. That was their name. I was like, really? I know. Don't get me wrong, though. They love to laugh. Yeah, it was kind of a remote city. It was up in the mountains. I'd say probably about a mile high. And no, don't laugh. I had my road manager, and it was tough for him because he's overweight. He weighs about 420. And you're coming down front after this. Like, shouldn't laugh at that. Anyway, no, and I felt bad, too, because we got up to the top of the mountain, and then he tripped, and he tumbled over, and talk about rolling a fatty. So, why are you laughing? He got hurt. He hit a stop sign at the bottom. It was horrible. It went bong. Okay, back to the real story. I was in Weed, California, and I was in the green room, and that is terrible, man. Anyway, I was leafing through a magazine, and I was talking to the pastor's daughter. She was in the Brownies. And I could do this all day. So, no, back to the real story. I was in the green room. This is what I'm saying. Technology, we put technology on everything, and we don't need it. There was a box on the wall, and I didn't know what it was. So I pulled a chair up, and I stood up, and I peered into it, because I'd never seen an automatic room deodorizer before. Why do we need that? Who can't go, right? No, I was like, what do you do, little fella? Boom! We don't need to put technology just because I don't know. can we leave the flushing mechanisms alone, okay? I don't want to get too off color, but was there anything wrong with the old way? No. You used it, you stood up, you took your foot, and you flushed it, right? It was perfect. It was perfect. What? You got relief and you got a yoga workout. We don't need an electric laser eye beam behind you where if you move half a centimeter to the right or the left, you get a hickey. And speaking of, I'll quit talking about bathrooms in a second, but speaking of, I don't know how long the automatic motion sensing lights are supposed to stay on in public restrooms. I just know at my church, it's not long enough. You know what I'm talking about? You walk in and the lights sense you're there and they come on. And as long as you move around every once in a while, they stay on. You go into a stall, it's a game of beat the clock. Tell me I'm not the only one that ever sat in a dark stall, tossing a roll of toilet paper up. I'm not laughing at my own joke. I'm laughing because it happened today. So it's so ridiculous, but it did. The lights went off, and I started laughing because I talk about it. And the best part was I grabbed a roll of toilet paper, tossed it up. The lights came on, and in the stall next to me, I heard, "Thank you." It was like, you're welcome, Pastor Mitch. Anyway, so it is. So I'm saying, and I'm not against all technology. There's some technology you got to have, to live, Facebook. Seriously, I mean, honestly, if we didn't have Facebook, how else would we know what women's feet look like in front of an ocean? I was just, that's true. Let's just be honest. And by the way, women, you want to take care of your little piggies before you post them on your timeline? I've seen toes that look like they hung bugle chips on them. And so I'm just saying, that's the other weird thing about dating now is like technology has changed that too, because Facebook and status updates and stuff, like you're on a date and you go to the bathroom, whatever, and you come back and then all you hear is like, are you not having a good time while you're gone? I checked the social media and you didn't post anything. You didn't say anything, and then she got mad because I said all that. And I know talking about like technology, it kind of makes me sound like old. Or actually, I don't even care anymore. I am old. I am over 40, which, by the way, is exactly when a guy turns old. I thought, it'd be gradual. Like, no, on the day. I convinced on the day, because here's what happened. On my 40th birthday, I was in the bathroom, and my oldest son, Google, was with me, and he was leaning in the mirror, and he was popping a pimple, and I was leaning in the mirror, and he goes, "Oh, you got a zit?" And I was like, I was pulling a hair out of my ear. A hair that was not there the day before and was somehow long enough for me to be able to grab it. So evidently on a 40th guy's birthday, it's just like, "Happy birthday to you." And it's just gonna get worse. I don't know if we took blankets to a retirement center over Christmas. Some of the elderly men there, they looked like they were smuggling Ewoks in their ear hole. One guy was bald on top. He was doing a comb over. So I'm not against all technology, but and I play video games. In moderation, I think that's good. My kids, do you guys play video games? What do you play? What do you play? No, it's cool. You play what? Oh, you play Minecraft? Okay. Hey, afterwards, tell me what your skin looks like, okay? Because mine is a Wookiee. Minecraft's a fun game, I'll be honest. And we play the Wii. I don't know if that's still popular, but I love the technology. Because I remember the first moment my oldest son took me to Radio Shack when they first came out. And he's like, "Dad, there's a new gaming system." And he handed me a remote, a small little remote. And he goes, "We're going to play baseball. And you're going to swing, and it's going to feel like you're hitting a baseball." And I remember that so vividly, because I was just standing there going, "No way." And I'm watching the ball come to me, and I was like, "Okay, this is going to be cheesy." And all of a sudden, I just went, boom! And I was like, "Oh, that is awesome, Coulter." "Oh, Coulter!" home run. But I do. And one thing I love about video games, Minecraft has this too, is cheat codes. Because cheat codes allow you to win no matter what. And I know that's kind of cheap, but here's the reason why I bring that up. Especially as you start this new year, I want to remind you that the Bible is and always will be the best cheat codes to life. It is how to win. My grandmother taught me that when I was very little. She actually pulled me aside and she was like, the Bible has all the answers. You need to start reading it now. It makes me mad that young kids never read the Bible and elderly people are reading the Bible like crazy because, it's like they're trying to cram for a final. And and it's true. The Bible is so fascinating, and it's full of, it's cheat codes to life is what it is. And it's like, even flying in today, I was reading about doubting Thomas. I was like, that's a good story, because he doubted one time. One time he doubted, and everybody calls him Doubting Thomas now. I'm like, that's pretty, one time on a date, I laughed, and a snot bubble came out. I don't want to be known as Snot Bubble Bob the rest of my life. The Bible's violent. It's so violent. It's so, like, if you like wars and stuff, I'd actually forgotten how violent it was. And my youngest, Xander, when he was 4, he was having, bad dreams. And I thought, I'm going to read a Bible story to him every night before he goes to bed so he'll have good thoughts. And I didn't think it through. The first story I read was David and Goliath. I didn't think it through. I was in the middle of it. I was like, and David picked up the sword and he cut. Ooh. And he was like, he cut what, Daddy? And I was like, he cut the cheese. And everyone laughed, right? And then I didn't even get to go on because my oldest came in and he was like, cool, now get to the part about Bathsheba on the roof. And that's the thing. It is so, and God uses imperfect people throughout the Bible, And I will say this to parents, though. Find out what your kids are reading. Because I took my oldest son on a camping hiking trip one time, not realizing he had just gotten to the part, where Abraham had taken his son Isaac. Okay, if you're not laughing, you're not cramming for your final. I got out of the tent that morning. I was like, good morning, Coulter. You want to go on a hike? And he was like, what? No. I want to go home. And I was like, what's up with you? And he showed me, and I was like, that's hilarious. Now grab that firewood and that knife, and let's go. So maybe start reading the Bible this year, Like, there's so many great plans out there that start reading the Bible. Realize it's God's love letter to us, That's one thing that got us through, my kids and I, through this year was, we realized that God saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, not from the fire. And so this year we went through the fire and God was right there with us. And that really helped us. And friends, my friends, I truly found out that my friends give horrible advice. They really do. I'm sorry, but one of my friends was like, you just need to go date a bunch of hot women. Just go date a bunch of hot women. And I was like, yeah. Where do they keep those? And some of my friends didn't even know what to say to me, so they mailed me books. So I was like, thanks, guys. I've got, a broken heart and homework. And that's the thing. Like, the only true relationship that really is going to matter is God. Because a lot of my friends were saying, one of my friends signed me up on a dating site, plentyoffish.com. Anybody know about it? I don't mean to be mean, but there are plenty of fish, but they're all bottom feeders. And so that's what I'm saying. And so get in the Word, because God has written a love letter to us. As I close, and I do wish Joseph, Jesus' dad, would have written a chapter. Anybody else think about that? How cool it'd be to know more about Jesus when he was a kid? Because he had power. I wonder if he ever used his dad's like, hey, I need you to water the plants. And he was like, oh, it is finished. Because, and we know Jesus was sinless, but surely he was up to stuff. Because he was a pretty funny kid. If you read some of the stories we have about him, I wonder if his dad ever had to pull him aside and look, stop spitting in everyone's eyes. When you go to school, you don't have to share your lunch with everyone. Leave that chicken alone. That is our dinner. It needs to stay dead. Right? He could have written on being humble because Joseph, he was Jesus' dad. How do you be humble? I would have been finding other dads going, is that your kid playing in the dirt? He looks cool. I'd introduce you to my son, but he's way over there walking on the lake. You know? I wonder if Joseph figured out he had powers. Ever walked up to Jesus like, hey, Jesus, can you put your finger in that water for me? Thank you. Happy New Year. No, I'm just saying, like, I would have bragged, I would have put a bumper sticker on the back of my donkey. Like, my son saved your honor student. You know? So that's what I'm gonna close with something a little different. But that's my challenge to you guys, is realize God's given us a new year. And every single day is a gift. Today is a gift. And if you're going through darkness, no, you don't have to do it alone. This church cares about you and loves you, but so does God, because he is your perfect father. And don't go through it alone. That's one of the best advices I got, was to reach out. And so as we start the new year, man, just know that you're loved and know that God has a plan and a path. So here's how I wanted to close my show. I have a lot of jokes that don't fit in my act, and you're probably thinking, yeah, we've heard a lot of them. But I have these jokes that I think are funny, but I don't know where to put them in my act. And so I put some music down, and I'm just going to call it, because when I have jokes that don't fit in my act, I usually just throw them on Twitter or Facebook, which, by the way, if you guys would follow me, like on Instagram and stuff, that'd be great. I got an email from one of my family members the other day going, you're supposed to be famous, and I got more Facebook friends than you. And I was like, big deal, Grandma. But so I'm going to close with this, and these are just a bunch of jokes that I think are funny, and I hope you enjoy them, and then we'll be dismissed. So if you guys want to go ahead and play that. I just found out Taco Bell now serves breakfast. Yes, finally, for those of us who want to get diarrhea earlier in the day. When I die, I want to be cremated, and I'm trying to talk my kids into putting me in a jar that says, he earned it. This summer, my kids and I learned the hard way that you cannot take a fishing pole into SeaWorld. Here's a true one. I was helping my kid with his homework, and he needed a definition of a mixed blessing, and I told him, getting a kidney transplant from a bedwetter. I am so glad No Shave November is finally over, because man, my legs were getting itchy. Here's really a question for you. If you put a squirrel's head in the toilet and flushed it, would that be a squirrely swirly? My favorite holiday is Columbus Day. To celebrate, I cross the street and I take away my neighbor's land. I wonder if Miss Piggy gets a lot of spam mail. I don't get hip-hop lyrics at all. I put out a ton of milkshakes and nobody came to my yard. When I was a kid, I thought I was my dad's favorite because he would let me lick the cake beaters when he was done. Then I got to college and realized you can turn them off first. And finally, this will be my last one, and I apologize because you kids aren't going to like it. But I think it's hilarious that my 17-year-old son doesn't know I still have a baby monitor hidden in his room. That's my show, man. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.